Mate.
I'm filming.
What's happening, my fellow geeks and geekettes? Welcome to a brand new and very special episode of Cosplay Chris, and today I just want to do a quick little video that is a wrap up for Monsterpalooza 2017. Now, this was my first time attending Monsterpalooza. Last year it was in Burbank, this year it was in the Pasadena Convention Center. So it was my first time attending Monsterpalooza. Jen had been there before. In fact, she was a guest. She performed a couple of years ago. So I'm completely new to all of this, and to be honest, it was one of the best convention experiences I have ever had. The crowd was amazing, just the atmosphere was amazing, and the subject matter was just absolutely amazing and terrifying. So we got there at about 10 a.m. The doors opened at 11. We lined up. You could buy your tickets online a few weeks before the event, but then they ceased that, so we did have to buy our tickets on the spot. And I met so many amazingly cool fans that came up, wanted to have a chat, talk about the channel and what I do. One guy by the name of Dave, I'm sorry, I don't remember your surname, but he bought me a Starbucks coffee card, so the coffee was on Dave, so thank you very much for that, my friend. So the doors open at 11 a.m. and instantly you're just met with all these amazing works, whether it be sculpture work, prosthetic makeup work, or even hand-drawn artwork. So they had this amazing Freddy Krueger bust based on Robert's makeup from the third Nightmare on Elm Street. They had some amazing Gremlins 2 props, and this really wicked, like, brain-dead skull samurai thing, which I actually used as the thumbnail. Apart from that, I got to meet some gentlemen I have been meaning to meet for so long, only because an ocean separated this. It was Mr. Mark Petrie, Mr. Brian Sills, and Robbie Atkinson. These guys are Freddy glove builders. They had a booth there that they were sharing, and I finally got to meet all three of them, and they were absolutely amazing, and their work was stellar. It was cool to see their gloves up close. Even though I own Mark's Part 1 template glove, it was still cool to see all of his other variations, as well as Brian's amazing Part 4 gloves and Dinah gloves, and Robbie's amazing penny thick Versus glove. Now, of course, it wouldn't be Monsterpalooza unless I stopped by the Ironhead Studio stand. I had a quick chat to Jose. He remembered me from last year when I visited his shop. He was great as always, gave me some advice about getting into the industry in LA, and it was just cool to stare at that Batfleck. So come on, you could stare at that thing all day. Plus, he had the Conan O'Brien superhero suit that he made for him back in Comic-Con in 2015. And it was cool. When Jen and I were visiting the Ironhead Studios stand, they were actually filming an episode of Tested there, so Norm from Tested was there interviewing Jose, so I got to capture that on film, which was pretty cool. Hi!
He wants to be in your movie.
Say hi, kitty. Now, whilst this was all going on, I also had the opportunity to meet Mr. Chris Nelson, who recently won an Academy Award for his amazingly stellar work in Suicide Squad in the makeup department. And so much so, he has actually done some prosthetic work for Jen. Jen was in American Horror Story, and her character ends up becoming a zombie. And he just decked Jen out in this amazing looking zombie makeup, and Chris was the guy that did it, and he's the guy that created Killer Croc, and I showed him my Captain Boomerang makeup and the cosplay, and he was impressed with that as well. So that was pretty cool. That was a surreal experience, to say the least. Now, there were an array of guests, but there was one guest that I really wanted to meet since I was like 9 years old, and that was Mr. Ricky Dean Logan, who was in 2 of the Back to Future films, but most notably for me, he played Carlos, the deaf boy who ultimately became Freddy's victim in the 6th Nightmare on Elm Street film, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Some of you guys will know that Freddy's Dead was the first Nightmare on Elm Street film that I had ever watched, and Carlos's death terrified me. So I did find an original Freddy's Dead VHS at Monsterpalooza. It was at one of the booths there that was just selling old school vintage horror merchandise. I wanted Ricky to sign it because I want to frame that next to my original vinyl Freddy's Dead cover that Robert had also signed. So I went up, shook my hand, and honestly, he was one of the nicest gentlemen I had ever met. He was so cool, he answered all of our questions. We ended up having a big chat. I went away for a bit, Jen and I went and got some lunch, came back, had another chat, and he was just so cool. He was just shooting the breeze with one of the guys. Now, what Monsterpalooza is mostly famous for is its amazing makeup demonstrations. And we got to see one that was like at the back of the convention center. This was pretty much run by V. Neal's crew. V. Neal is one of the most famous female makeup artists in the industry. She's done Michael Keaton's makeup for Beetlejuice, Johnny Depp's makeup for Edward Scissorhands, and she had her crew there doing live demonstrations of applying prosthetic makeup, intricate prosthetic makeup, and I managed to get some really incredible footage. To be honest, this dynamic, demonic, and almost angelic looking makeup, as you guys can see right here. So guys, that is pretty much it. My first taste and experience of Monsterpalooza was absolutely mind-blowing, to say the least. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it was one of the best convention experiences I have ever had. You're surrounded by amazingly cool people that appreciate monsters, like whether it be sculpture, prosthetic, hand-drawn artwork. Now, before I sign off, I want to give a big shout out for Yay for May. That is her name on Instagram. When Jen and I were in lineup to get our tickets, I'm hoping her name's May, but I'm just gonna call her Yay for May for now. She came up, she recognized me in the queue, and she gave me one of her custom-made pop vinyl figures, Dead Snow, Red vs. Dead. But look at that, she detailed and overhauled this figure, and she gave it to me because she was a fan of what I do with customizing figures. So Yay for May, thank you very much. So a big thank you to each and every one of you that came up, had a chat with me. I really appreciate it. It was lovely to meet each and every one of you. Now, I don't know how well the camera can pick up my shirt, but it is covered in black and brown speckled paint, as well as my face and my hands. Now, you're probably wondering what is going on. Well, I'm not gonna say too much for now, but there will be a video coming later this week. I'll give you guys a hint. Remember that tour Jen and I did last week of Amalgamated Dynamics, the special effects company? Well, I've been back there 3 times this week. Cosplayers do it best.